Welcome to Life Inspired Podcast. This is the podcast you've been searching for. A space where us lifestyle junkies can vocalize our dreams, share our lives' visions, and the journey we've experienced together. I'm your host, Kayla DeLargy, and my whole purpose for these episodes is to connect with others, inspire and support them along their personal journeys, so that way all of you listening can not only feel empowered, but accepted, and that you too belong here and your dreams matter. These episodes are not only meant to bring you something different, but a fresh spin on how the everyday soul is living out their true passions and a life filled of adventure. For the end of each episode, you will not only feel inspired to take action within your own life, but you'll now have the tools, the strategies, and the support to start paving a pathway towards your dreams. Remember, a life inspired stays inspired. What is up, guys, and welcome to another Life Inspired episode. And this week is all about feeling your best, inside and out. When I first came across this week's co-host, I was amazed by how much incredible content she had in the health and fitness space. Not only was her content useful, but completely realistic to applying to our own everyday lives. See, Farin is a full-time mom who honestly just wanted to feel good and beautiful in her own skin again. How many of us can relate? She was determined to not only live a happier, but a healthier lifestyle for herself. So she's decided to start a fitness business right from her kitchen table. She now runs a successful fitness and health blog, shares her own tasty recipes, works one-on-one with her personal coaching programs, all while growing her online community of fitness junkies, all from the comforts of her own home. She believed she could, and so she did. So help me welcome to this week's Life-Inspired episode, Farin Duran. Farin, thank you for coming on today. How are you, girl?
Yay! Thank you for having me. I'm so good. I'm so excited for this. Totally feel the same way that we're like sisters from other misters.
Right. I love it, girlfriend. Yes. So for our listeners that don't know your background or your story as well as I do, I would love for you to just share and kind of get them up to date to what brought you to where you're at today.
Okay, so I am a fitness and health coach. This is like one of those questions people say, what do you do? And I get really stumped up on because I feel like what I do is all of the things. So I guess it would help more to say how I got here, and then you can decide exactly what I do. But I am a mom of two, and I'm a wife. And so after my second child is a daughter, and I thought the weight of having a baby was going to fall right off. I thought it was great. I honestly didn't believe in postpartum depression. I was like, no, that's just a thing in your head. And then I felt in it. And so after I had her, found that I was like crying all the time. I was popping wine bottles all the time. Like I was drinking more than I should. I was also breastfeeding. So I was like trying to time it perfectly. Like, when can I drink? And then I was like, well, I have an issue. But I started to realize that my body and who I was, like I wasn't happy with who I was. And I remember crying to my husband. I lied about a birthday party. I said, we're not going to this birthday party. I was all upset about it. And my husband's like, what don't you love right now? What's going on? Like, and husbands, like, or spouses or whomever, like, they don't know what to do when, like, you're postpartum. They're like, I don't know what to do, how to make you feel better, but they want to be fixers. And so my husband's trying to be a fixer. And I was like, I just don't love me. I don't love who I am. And I don't love myself. And my husband's like, how can we fix it? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, for one, I hate my body. I hate it. And I think as a new mom, and I think for any women, but when you look in the mirror and you don't love who you are, it really, like, it can ruin your day, it can ruin your minute, it can ruin like your life. Like when you don't love the person that you see in the mirror, it's like that is you. So if you don't love who you are, you like represent yourself in a totally different way. You walk down the street like unhappy, and you don't, it's like when you have a good hair day and you have your clothes on, like you're like hi to everybody, but when you hate yourself, you're like, I don't want to go anywhere, I hate myself. So my husband was like, that's it, like let's start working out, let's get healthy together, let's do what we need to do. So I was like, I remember he ran out to Walmart, got a DVD player, we had old DVDs of a workout that we did a long time ago. He ran out, got it. He went on like a Nextdoor, like was like a Craigslist app, and said, "Does anyone have a free TV?" He put a TV in our garage. He had the DVD player there, and like we put in our DVDs. And the next morning, we woke up at remember waking up at like 3:45 in the morning because I was breastfeeding my daughter. Woke up, I fed her. My husband changed her, put her back down. And he was like, "Let's do it." And we walked downstairs. And back then, like the workouts were like an hour long. So now, like people like complain about 30-minute workouts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was dedicated. I did an hour. So we woke up every morning, and I started to notice that when I was working out, I was like releasing these endorphins, and I was like a happier mom. And on those days that I was working out, I was happier. I wasn't crying. I was like, this whole like trickled down for the whole day. And then as I started to lose weight, I realized I was like, I'm loving me again. I love who I am. Like, this is me. This is, and you don't have to be like perfectly fit, but just knowing that you're working towards a goal, like that accomplishment feels really, really good. So that's how I got into the fitness field. And I remember walking into work, and some people would say like, "Oh, Farin, what have you been doing?" And I would tell them what I was doing, and they're like, "Oh gosh, I want to do it too." And I'm like, "Well, you can." So I started like getting women together and putting together fitness accountability groups and getting women and helping them reach their fitness goals and helping them love themselves. And so, and that at first it was like, I just want to help one woman, one mom, one woman, one person look in the mirror and not hate themselves. And that's all I cared about. It's just one person. And if I could do that, I would feel better. And they would keep me accountable too. And then it's crazy because that one woman turned into 2 and 3, and like here we are. And there's like hundreds of women that have joined to do other things, but we calculate this all the time. We're like, there are literally thousands. Like in the first year, we had like 1,000 people, and it was like thousands of women that were affected by this one thing of just me wanting to be better. So that's how I started. That's how I got into what I got into. And I started creating this business of helping other people reach their fitness and health goals. And so now I'm like a coach. I help people, and actually Kayla and I were talking about like, I kind of do the lifestyle thing now because as I have gotten this, lost the weight and I feel good. I lost 45 pounds. My husband lost 55. We feel like we lost a whole person. We feel really good. But as we've done this, we realize the whole thing is just more about your lifestyle. And as much as I love helping people lose weight, I've realized that people don't gain weight because like McDonald's opened up down the street, like, or, they just discovered tacos. Like that is a struggle. But we gain weight because stress happens in our life. Like other things, like you're driving down the road and you're only worried about you. And all of a sudden there's these speed bumps and there's these things. And all of a sudden you're not the driver anymore, and you're not taking care of yourself anymore. And it's all these things that formulate that make like help you gain weight. And sometimes women just need that support to get out of there. And what I want to be mostly, so when people ask me what I want to be and what I want to do, is I just want every woman that ever gets in contact with me to know that they have somebody. And that's really important to me because I know like there's divorces and life happens and we get sad and we cry but I want you to know that like you always have someone. So that's pretty much what I do.
Oh my gosh, I just love you. So glad I have you. You're awesome. But gosh, what a freaking story. And it's been so incredible and inspiring to hear you just like be like, you know what, just one woman. If I can just help one, then this was all worth it. And watch what it's done. Like, I mean, look, it's literally turned into thousands now that are being helped to go on to help more. So it's just amazing that you decided to step into your purpose because you allowed so many others to find theirs because of it.
Yes. I love it. I love that stepping in your purpose. And I feel like that is an empowering thing to say. Like, I feel like that was kind of my purpose. Like, this is what I want out of my life. And so, good.
I love it. And now you're helping others find theirs. So it's amazing. But let us go a little back into kind of that whole working beginning stages of it. Because obviously you're a mom of 2. You had a career prior. So how was it building a business from scratch with no prior experience, just literally from your kitchen table? Like, how did you do that?
Yeah. So, and that's such a good question because a lot of people, like a lot of us have self-doubt. We're like, oh, I wish you see these women and they're running these businesses and they're living in these houses and you're like, oh, I want to do that. Like, I wish I could. And it's like, why the heck not? Like, and it really took, I remember, it's crazy how these big points in your life, you can look back and you remember that exact moment. Like, and so I remember watching these girls on Facebook and they were talking about being like coaches. And I thought, okay, what are they doing? And they're talking about going to parties and they're enjoying their life and living the best life. And then there was this post and they were in Florida and they were in Destin, Florida, and they were on the beach and they were saying how, one thing you do can make you change your whole life and, living a life like, giving an impact to people. And I remember I walked in the kitchen, my husband's in there and I'm like, I want to do this. Like, I think I can do this. And I still had weight to lose. And I just looked at him and he was like, we are doing this. And that was like really impactful in our business and in my life because my husband was like, you're doing it. We're doing this. Like, we are going in as a family. Like, and that was his way of supporting me. And so he said, we're doing it. And it was just like, all right, I'm doing this. I was so excited. And I was so passionate. And when you feel something in your gut that like, if it scares you and you're like, I don't know, that's when you know, like, that's it. So if you're like, it doesn't really bother me, then that's probably not for you. But if you get that pit in your stomach feeling of like, I'm kind of scared, I'm kind of nervous, I don't know, maybe I should, that's when you're like, oh man, this is it. Like, that feeling is your gut telling you, go girlfriend, like, do this. So I did it. And it's crazy because I heard this a lot. They say like, sometimes you just jump and learn to fly on the way down. And that's actually what you do. And I think for any business, whether you want to crochet hats, on Etsy, or you want to own a pizza shop, like you just learn as you go. Like, the person who opens a pizza shop doesn't know every single thing about every single pizza and business and everything. Like, they learn. Like Steve Jobs, like when they started, like he didn't already know about the iPhone and everything else when he started. Like, this, you just learn as you go, and you just have to have confidence within yourself. Like, and this is something I always ask people when they start, like, are you passionate about helping others? Are you passionate about what you're about to do? And are you coachable? And those are like the three huge things. Like, are you passionate about helping people? If you are, then you'll always make this work. And if you're passionate about what you're about to do, then yeah, your passion will take over. And being coachable is the biggest one because you have to be able to learn and use things like Google and YouTube. And when you're, person who's helping you and or mentoring you and they tell you to do something, you have to be coachable enough to say, I'm going to do it. Okay, you're right. Let me do this. And that's how you gain success. And so so I had a little person. I had when I started, she was about 5 months old, and I had a son and he was 4. And so when we started, it was hard. Like, it was not easy. And so how do you create a business and have 2 kids? And I was still working full time. I worked really weird hours too. I worked 4:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. And so, and breastfeeding a baby, and I have a husband, and we had a dog, and my kids are involved in every little thing that they could be. And my husband and I still play sports, and we do all of the things. But I was very passionate about it, and just make it work. And so it meant I stopped watching TV with my husband. And some people listen to this, you might be listening to this right now and be like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, that's where the difference was with success is, I sat there with my husband, while he watched TV, but I was on my phone. I was building a business. Like, I could, watch TV for 30 minutes. I could build a business that was going to keep me home, that was going to replace my full-time income. Like, let's see here, Survivor or stay home. So that was incredible for me. And so so I did the things like that. And then I woke up early, I woke up an hour early and I worked in my business. And there was times I stayed up really, really late and to work my business. And, I remember I was at a conference and someone said, my coach and someone I really loved said, you worked so hard that you couldn't have given a fingernail more. And that always stuck with me. And I remember coming home and just being crazy cat on the keyboard, that meme, and just working until 2 a.m. sometimes. And I kept thinking, could I have given a fingernail more today? And that was my mindset. And I would and I was like, nope, I gave all my fingernails today, and I would go to bed. And I'd wake back up early and I'd do it again. And, I heard someone talking at Eric Thomas, who E.T., if you ever look him up, he's got this great voice and he pumps you up. And he said, if you want to be successful, you're going to lose sleep. Like that's just it. You lose sleep. Like you'll gain it other places. Sunday mornings when you use sleep, but like if you want to create a successful business, you're going to lose sleep. You're going to have sacrifices. Things are going to happen, but it's all going to pay off. And I always had that in my mind that this is going to pay off. Like this is going to be worth it. And so it was. And now I'm at a place where I have created that success where I can create my own schedule and I am home with my kids and I have replaced my full-time income. And so, all of these little seemingly insignificant little sacrifices, just staying out on a 30-minute show and waking up just a little bit earlier, staying up a little bit later, telling my husband I don't want to go out, I have this conference call I want to do, or I would travel a little bit more and we spend a little money so I could travel and go to conferences. Like all these little things added up to where I am today. And so they matter. These little things matter.
They really do. It's not like these huge leaps and bounds you have to make, right? It really is the small, impactful decisions that you continue and consistently make on a regular basis that get you to the place that you want to be.
Right.
I love it. I love that you're like willing to make these sacrifices too, because I feel like sometimes you're either the person who's like super timid to make the sacrifices, or you're kind of how we were talking about early. You just go for it and you just jump off the cliff and you're like, oh, that wasn't so good. Or you're like, this was great. I'm glad I went.
Yes, you have to. And it's so crazy when you think about like every successful person, like any successful person you can ever imagine right now in your brain, first person who comes up, like Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, all these, they all woke up early. Like they sacrificed their sleep. They sacrificed a lot of things. I mean, and I think there's not one person who is successful that was like, I just slept until 11 o'clock and I was just winging it. Like they worked with intention and they sacrificed, and then it all pays off. And if you're passionate about something so much, if it really is your passion, it won't matter. Those sacrifices don't feel like sacrifices while you're in it. You look back and you're like, oh, I did sacrifice. But when you're doing it, it shouldn't feel like a sacrifice as you bring it. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm passionate about. This is my purpose. So.
And sometimes I'd say more so mass majority of the time I'm so like fueled up and energized that you don't necessarily feel that lack of a couple hours of sleep you didn't get, because you're just excited about life. You're like, I'm ready to wake up. I don't need to sleep.
I totally agree.
I love it. So I would love for you just to share with our listeners, what would be something you would suggest they do or start in terms of getting in a healthier lifestyle, or maybe facing their fears? What's a tip or a suggestion that you use as a reminder for them?
So to get in that healthier lifestyle, I think just setting a reasonable goal. A lot of times in my fitness groups, we talk about SMART goals. And so if you look that up, but they're specific, they're measurable, and all, and it's like you're timed and just setting a reasonable goal. And so instead of saying, if you need to lose 70 pounds now, like I'm going to lose 70 pounds, like, well, what are you going to do? Like, I'm going to lose, 1 pound a week, and I'm going to start with, and how are you going to do it? Like, okay, well, I'm going to cut out soda, like, and start small. And it is okay to start small. You don't have to go in and be perfect at everything. Like the healthiest person in the world doesn't even do everything. Like I lost 45 pounds but I love chicken nuggets. Like I love them so much. Like I love McDonald's. I mean, I literally I love it. Like, but I just, do it in small doses. And I never vowed to say, I'm cutting out all the things. I just want to be a better person. And so, and a lot of times too, is getting into that being healthier is a healthy mindset. And it's, and I always tell my calendars going in, like, never sacrifice a healthy mindset for a healthy body. And so, what I mean, like, if you're sitting there and your son is having cake for his 6th birthday and you're like, gosh, I want that cake, you eat that cake. Like, you eat it. You love it. Like, that's your mind. Like, don't ruin your mindset because, you're like, oh, no, I can't. Like, so do things small is my biggest tip. And definitely accountability. And that's what I've learned working with women. It's just having that support person, that buddy, and I always encourage people when they start, tell two people what you're doing. Like, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, tell the world, but, at least tell the person that you live with, and tell someone else, like your best friend, and say, hey, I want to be healthier. I don't really like where I'm going right now. This is what I'm doing. and ask for their support. And if they love you, they will support you. And so it's not awkward when you're going to barbecues and they're like, why are you not, drinking all the margaritas? It's fine, or like you didn't eat devour cookies. Tell those people so they're there for you and they can cheer you on. So, I know for me, it was definitely I had to say I'm doing it, and I did it. And so I definitely had slip ups, but you just do. You can't think twice. And another thing too is I'll have people sometimes say like, oh, I'm going to start after I go on vacation. I'm going to start this. But you can start being healthy like this second. Like as you're listening to this podcast, you can literally say, you know what, I'm just not going to eat, I'm not going to eat crap for the rest of the day, or I'm not going to drink soda, or I'm going to do things that I know are not good for my body. Like those things I'm really going to cut out. Like things that are actually, like smoking and different things like that might kill me, I'm probably going to stop it. So.
Yeah, just putting yourself first, but also like knowing that it's in moderation.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love it. Oh, you're just so amazing, Farin. Thank you so much for your time today. I want to make sure that our listeners can find you and connect with you. So where can they find you online? Where can they connect with you? Maybe coach with you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm at Farin Duran Fitness, FARINDORAN. I feel so funny spelling it out, fitness. You can find me there, and I'm also on Facebook, same thing. And I think I am in the world the actually only Farin Duran. So if you type in FARINDORAN, I'm the only one of those. So you can find me there. And I love even if talking to people, so even if it's just reaching out or just you want to ask me something or you want to know more, I'd love to hear from you. So fun.
That's awesome. Well, I will leave all of those links and stuff in the show notes so people can just click on them and access your Instagram and your Facebook. And gosh, thank you again so much for your time today. It's been awesome chatting with you, getting to know you, and also just hearing all your value and insight because you know what you're talking about, girlfriend.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So guys, I hope that this episode inspired you so much. And I hope it also made you realize that it's not that you have to take these huge leaps and make these huge adjustments and these massive changes to really see your lifestyle of your dreams come true. It's the little things. It's the little decisions every day. It's the little reminders, the commitments to becoming your best self that actually create the lifestyle of your dreams. So remember, guys, a life inspired stays inspired. Much love. I personally want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you loved it, please feel free to share it. Share it with a friend, your family, or even on your social media. I truly hope that within these episodes you find value that you can take away and apply to your own life. My whole life purpose is to help raise this universe's consciousness, and it's through this podcast that I'm able to truly help the many. If you love listening in and you're a true life-inspired junkie, please feel free to leave a review on iTunes, as that's the best way for me to get this podcast out to so many others. If you're interested in being featured on this podcast, please submit your request on my website, lifeinspiredpodcast.com. I truly thank you all from the bottom of my heart for listening in each week. It's because of all of you that I get to do these episodes, and I get to host this podcast live. So until another episode, much love.
Waiting for your touch and kiss.